Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I recently came across this disturbing story about this young man by the name of Jordan Neely, who was a street performer in New York City. He would perform in the subways for money. He would do Michael Jackson impressions and all that kind of stuff, imitations. And so the other day he was on the subway, and this brother, unfortunately, is homeless. He was on the train complaining about how he didn't have any money, how he didn't have any food, and how he basically didn't care if he goes to jail. And he said that he was done. And so he was complaining on the subway to people on the subway, to the passengers and everything. At no point did this man threaten anyone, according to reports. He did not assault anyone. He did not have a weapon on him. While he was ranting about being fed up about his condition, this white Marine proceeded to grab this brother and choke this brother for about 3 minutes, to the point where this brother passed out and died. And there were a couple of other passengers that were trying to restrain him as well, when he really didn't need to be restrained. He wasn't attacking anybody. He didn't threaten to attack anybody, according to these news reports. But yet and still, this white Marine felt that it was his duty to choke this brother to death. And the police arrived on the scene. The death has been ruled a homicide, but this white Marine who choked this black brother, Jordan Neely is a black man, was a black man. This Marine who choked him was a white man. So the police arrive on the scene. They do not arrest this man for choking this man to death. They don't arrest him for choking Jordan Neely to death. They let this man go. So this man is out here living his best life and all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, this young brother, Jordan Neely, is dead. And immediately when I saw the video footage of this incident, the first thing I thought about was Eric Garner. This whole situation reminded me of the whole Eric Garner death. You all will recall that Eric Garner was choked to death by a New York police officer. And to this day, these years later, that officer that choked that brother to death live on camera for the whole world to see still hasn't been charged with anything. He's out here living his life. Meanwhile, Eric Garner's family is still mourning the loss of that brother. Meanwhile, there is no justice for Eric Garner. And I hope that that is not what happens in this case, because it is absolutely outrageous that this man would choke this brother to death, be captured on video in front of all of those witnesses. All of those people on the subway witnessed this man choke this brother to death. But yet and still, the prosecutor and the police are still conducting some investigation. If that had been a black man choking a young white man to death, they would have arrested him on sight. They would have threw him under the bus and under the jail and threw away the key. But here we have to have some investigation for what is clear and obvious. But we'll see what happens. And the sad thing is, and I know politicians are politicians, but you had this black mayor in New York City. And he's basically saying, well, let the investigation play out and all this and that. When something is so obvious and so blatant, there's no need for some prolonged investigation. And, the fact that this man could kill this brother in front of all these people and still not be charged at this point just shows you the low regard that people have for Black lives. And this is a prime example of the criminalization of poverty, man. People that are homeless are often harassed. They are often arrested and stuff like that, and victimized and stuff. And this is a prime example of that. This brother is was suffering, man. He was suffering from homelessness, suffering from poverty. And according to some reports, he was suffering from some mental issues as well. Instead of addressing those problems, you know, we allow situations to get to the point where some quote unquote vigilante feels that his duty to choke out somebody in front of all these witnesses. It is crazy that this stuff is happening. We can't allow black people to be killed with impunity, man. There has to be justice for this brother. Justice for Jordan Neely.